HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Book of No, 365 Ways to Say It and Mean It, and Stop People-Pleasing Forever, by Susan Newman, Ph.D., with Christina Schriel. Read by Virginia Woolf. Author's Note: 10 years after writing the first edition of The Book of No, it still surprises me how good it feels to say no or its equivalent. I'm on overload right now. That's not going to work for me. I'm busy that day. More surprising is that saying no doesn't mean the end of the world. It won't cause my children to stop loving me, my friends to abandon me, or my colleagues to ignore me. In the last decade or so, however, life has started to feel like a pressure cooker, with mounting requests and demands. Technology certainly ups the potential for conflicts. People expect immediate answers. For one reason or another, most of us are busier than ever. One of the traps I realized is, like many people, I think I can do more than I can. Given an allotted number of hours to do everything, something's got to give. But what? I understood that I needed to change my thinking and do a better job of setting up and guarding my boundaries, because boundaries are key to not being an inveterate people-pleaser buried in an avalanche of to-dos. Obviously, there will be instances when you have to or want to help out. The Book of No was not created to justify the egomaniac who wants everything his or her way. Rather, it's for those of us, me included, who say yes too often. It's for people who kick themselves after agreeing to do something that, it turns out, didn't really require their compliance. This edition is chock full of new situations and research that explain why a no may be the best answer and offers more ways to say it without feeling guilty or damaging a relationship. You'll start paying more attention to what is asked, how and when it is asked, and how quickly you respond, usually too fast in an effort to please, placate, or avoid hurting someone's feelings. I have every hope that in short order you can adapt to living happily ever after with no as a staple in your vocabulary. The goal is to gain better command of the word no in handling requests for your time, talent, muscle, money, know-how, or presence that pull you in too many directions, add to your stress, and eat up precious time. The insights and examples that follow will strengthen your resolve so you have time to do more for the people and things most important to you. And that means for yourself as well. Introduction. We live in a world that currently lauds the power of yes. It's a trend. Numerous blogs, self-help books, and even plots of novels and movies suggest that saying yes unlocks more from life. This thinking instructs particularly timid people looking for adventure or change to say yes over playing it safe. In that way, yes is often a good thing. There's nothing wrong with a yes when it moves you closer to your goals. Finally taking that boxing class you've always wanted to, but were too wary to sign up for. Keeping peace in the family, or strategically shoring up your position in the workplace. At work, saying yes purportedly sends a message that you are a team player, supporting your group and increasing your value to the company. A yes is perfectly fine if it moves you forward in some way or makes you feel good. But here's the issue. Yes, sure, no problem. The words are out of your mouth before the reality or the enormity of the commitment registers. You realize too late that you don't want or don't have the time to do what you've taken on. You neither wish to babysit for a friend's or sibling's children, nor do you have time to walk a neighbor's pesky dog every time she asks. You wonder how you got roped into an extra office assignment or making arrangements for a coworker's farewell party. How does this happen to me so often, you ask? If you're not wondering, maybe you should. No, the word you repeated without the slightest hesitation at age 2 seems problematical, if not impossible, in many of your interactions today. Time to reorient yourself to the word no. It has the power to bring equilibrium to your life and better manage your interactions. By keeping no at the front of your mind, you have both a plan and the ability to meet it. With no, your well-being becomes a priority. Quiz. How much of a people pleaser are you? Often, people who regularly respond to requests with a yes rather than a no don't recognize their willingness or selflessness as a hindrance to their own progress and happiness. This quiz assists you in seeing your personal yes-no predicament more clearly. Note what you respond to with a yes or, "Oh, that's me." 1. Do you find you don't have enough time to exercise, relax, get enough sleep, or accomplish what you set out to do? 2. Are you often unable to express yourself or ask for what you want? 3. Do you say yes and then regret committing to what was asked of you? 4. Do you feel guilty when you turn someone down? 5. Do you resent the person who asked? 6. Do you have a need to be loved or liked? 7. Do you feel duped or manipulated once you've agreed to help out? 8. Do some of your relationships feel one-sided? Do you find yourself asking, "What does this person do for me, if anything?" 9. Do people see you as someone who is always available? 10. Does your fear of missing a fun event or fear of being left out influence how you respond to invitations or plans to get together? 11. Do you seem to be the person called on to make personal sacrifices whenever there's a problem? 12. Do you wish to be seen as a responsible, reliable person? 13. Do you sometimes think, "I am not having fun anymore"? 14. Do you sometimes feel that you do too much for others and not enough for yourself? 15. Do you allow the opinions of others to determine your self-worth? If you have more yeses than nos, you probably say yes too often. You have the disease to please. The disease to please. Why you say yes. If you are someone who does things for others, leaving little to no time for yourself, and often feel at your wit's end, put yourself in the people-pleaser category. It could be that you've been people-pleasing all your adult life, aiding others who thrive being on the receiving end. Being cared for is what the takers in your life have come to expect. That alone places you high on the people-pleasing scale. Or you may be reluctant to state your needs, and by not stating your needs, you're leaving the door open to saying yes. It could be that you're a busy junkie. The more you can cram into a day, the happier you are, and the happier you are, the more likely you are to say yes. Yes is the default position for many overcommitted people. After all, busy people get things done, and the people in your life know it. Many busy people have a ton on their plates already and tend to rationalize, "What's one more task?" Or you may be someone who avoids confrontation or unpleasantness. For you, yes is the path of least resistance and the way to avoid damaging your relationship with the asker. Incessant yeses often stem from the inability to think clearly about what is being asked. Many label the millisecond it takes to agree as a weak moment. I was having a bad day, I was in a bad mood, I didn't feel well, my guard wasn't up, and a long list of other excuses. What keeps you from saying no is usually right below the surface of the question. An implied judgment, an unspoken guilt-producing should. your own hesitation to offend or disappoint, or your fear of the asker's power or perceived hold on you. Then there's a dangerous gray zone, filled with those things you have no strong feelings or opinion about. When in the gray zone, you're wishy-washy and undecided. Requests out of the blue can leave you floundering in murky waters. Until you pause long enough to analyze a situation, you will continue to be a yes person. Or you may say yes because you like being needed and have gotten into the habit of being amenable. You enjoy the feelings of being liked or loved that emanate from cooperating. Similarly, you may crave the approval that validates you and gives your self-esteem a boost. You thrive on appreciation when people say thank you. In the extreme, saying yes becomes an addiction. Perhaps you're driven to say yes too much because you fear you will miss something fun or important. Maybe you worry about being left out or abandoned. Your concern may be that people will judge you negatively if you refuse or don't show up. In moderation, being available is a good thing. Self-sacrificing, on the other hand, is not. Yes, people become weighed down, feel torn, trapped, or taken advantage of, and are often annoyed with themselves for being easy marks. The damage of saying yes indiscriminately affects you much more than your refusals affect the people you turn down. Male or female, you may be a people pleaser simply because, while growing up, you were taught to be nurturing and caring. Saying yes is how you've been functioning for what seems like forever. You can change that. No, a learned skill. Saying no may be completely uncharted territory. When you're a master of yes, you're a novice of no. For you, saying no means trying something entirely foreign. Think of the process as an adventure into the unknown, with delicious bounty at the end of the journey. A calmer, happier life with you supervising it. To master saying no, you may have to move out of your comfort zone. While saying no won't change your personality, it will help you assert yourself and put an end to that empty feeling in the pit of your stomach when you commit beyond your stamina or to the point of draining your emotional reserves. Over time and with practice, no will become your first option instead of a current, deeply ingrained propensity to say yes. No is a word steeped in negativity, a perception ingrained from childhood. When you were a child, you had little difficulty shouting no, but slowly the word no was drilled out of you. If you said no to sharing your toys as a toddler, you were sent to your room or a toy was taken away. As you got older and refused a parental rule or direction, you lost privileges. These early experiences translated into concrete fears about using the word no. No doubt, some of that apprehension carried over into your adult life. It takes time to start seeing the true power of no, to protect your time, balance your relationships, safeguard your health, and create positive change. Before you can fully embrace no, you have to understand why no is important. You may be a person who has to be pushed and prodded, have your back against the wall, or be on serious overload before the thought of saying no enters your mind. Being on a yes treadmill is an unhealthy place to be. A perpetual diet of yeses is depleting and not good for the mind or the body. Stress and frustration build. Added stress can affect your sleep and temperament and lead to depression. Feeling under the gun too often can also cause stomach aches or headaches and contribute to habits such as overeating or smoking that some use to cope with stress. In short, by saying no more often, you keep your stress level in check, avoiding possible health complications. Transforming how you think about yourself and your life, even your dreams, will change how you respond to requests. Take some time to consider what you want and how all you do for others is probably holding you back or, at the least, slowing you down. With defined goals, you will be better able to avoid unwanted interruptions that interfere or put barricades in your path. You will be less likely to go with the will of others, to be generous and supportive every time you are called upon. Think of no as your assistant, your cheerleader, the vehicle to become your best self. Saying no improves your state of mind and frees you to stay on course, your course, and feel more purposeful. Changing your thinking. Take a moment to consider the people in your life who rarely hesitate to say no when asked to do something. Note how they guard their time and have boundaries in place that they hardly ever alter. Make one of them your role model. Saying yes doesn't make you a better person, nor does saying no mean you are a less caring individual. You can still be kind and empathetic without agreeing to all that is asked of you. Forget about the shoulds that nag at your conscience, sap your energy, and swallow significant chunks of your day. It's frustrating when you can't get to what you want on a given day or accomplish goals you've had percolating for months, possibly years. Hours and days vanish in a flash of getting sidetracked. Understanding your own needs and moving them to the forefront stops you from agreeing to do things you find distressing or self-defeating. You can't assert yourself or indicate your preferences until you know what they are. Figuring out these personal or work-related objectives is fundamental to reaching your goals. Maybe you want to learn or perfect your skills on a musical instrument or speaking a foreign language. Your aim may be as simple as getting more sleep or devoting less time to running errands for your mother-in-law, who might be perfectly capable of doing them herself. Maybe you enjoy gardening or sewing or want to join a book club or see more movies, but you never seem to get around to it. Stop overcommitting. Give yourself permission to take time for yourself and eliminate the drudgery of having jam-packed days and nights. It's perfectly okay to say, me first. With changed thinking and goal-oriented direction, you'll be better able to stick to your agenda, and life will begin to feel more satisfying and rewarding. Spelling out what you hope to achieve automatically shores up boundaries and keeps your priorities straight. Setting boundaries. To stop people from overstepping your boundaries, plan for what you want and reserve steadfast time slots. Your child's nap time, for example, or an hour when you get home from work or after dinner. When someone makes a request, you will know you don't want to give up the time you've saved. It doesn't mean that you won't ever give up reserved time. Make lists, daily, weekly, monthly, or long-term, and make it a practice to check them before you agree to anything. Post your list where you can see it as a reminder. Tape it on your desk or put it in your wallet, somewhere it's readily accessible to act as a sort of conscience. Better yet, memorize it so you will be more inclined to refuse requests that prevent you from removing items from the list. Equally effective? Think about the things you want to stop doing. Jot them down to remind yourself. Need more reinforcement? Put a no sign on your computer or desk, near the phone you use regularly, in your kitchen, wherever you are most often and are most apt to be asked to do something. Consider that each request may obliterate plans you've made. Answering these questions before you respond will reinforce your new attitude and better mark your boundaries. Do I have the time? What do I have to give up to do this? Will I feel pressured to get it done? Will I be upset with myself after saying yes? Will I resent the person asking? Will I feel duped, had, or coerced? Why am I agreeing? What's the gain? Putting no to work for you. The more comfortable you become saying no, the more opportunities you create to achieve the less chaotic, more fulfilling life that always seems just out of reach. At times, maximizing the power of no requires understanding when to say yes, when to stand firm, or when it is wise to negotiate. You will learn how to make the best of a no answer. That is, refuse a request, yet create the least amount of pushback when you do. You will be able to say no and still remain in the good graces of friends, family, work colleagues, and bosses. You will also have skills and planned responses to deal with extraneous harassing or especially persistent people. Even after you make a commitment to yourself, you may need stronger boundaries in some areas more than others. Perhaps you have no difficulty refusing your partner, but saying no to your children is a whole other story. Decide where your boundaries are strong and where they need work. You might choose to build your no power with friends, and after listening to Chapter 2, with friends, you'll be able to meet them head on. If your family pulls you into all things unimaginable, you'll want to focus on Chapter 3, All in the Family. If encounters and conflicts with your children call for refusals, you'll discover ways to navigate no as a parent in Chapter 4, With Children, Park Your Guilt. If your hesitancy to say no is most prevalent on the job, then survey Chapter 5, At Work, to learn scripts to use with your boss, coworkers, or clients. Delve into Chapter 6, Really Difficult People, to master no with an array of busybodies, salespeople, and scammers who hope that you will say yes or get sucked into their swindle. Each chapter is filled with situations, questions, and demands that snag people every day. While a request may not be one precisely asked of you, you will recognize the predicament and start to think ahead to similar situations in which you might be caught off guard. Scenarios include questions, requests, and demands. Each scenario is dissected into 3 parts: what's going on here, response, and alert. What's going on here? This section warns of the possible motives behind the ask, offering details of the circumstances that could influence how you respond. What's going on here analyzes what's asked and why you may have a hard time saying no. This knowledge builds resistance and helps assemble a strong base from which to begin your turnaround. Response. Responses help extricate you and, in most instances, suggest language to disengage you from the commitment without your seeming disinterested or impolite. When you aren't confident that you can find the words on your own, the scripts will give you the words to say no. This also helps you assess the situation and answer less impulsively. Alert. The alert provides rationale and words of caution, so the next time you're in a similar bind, you'll hesitate before locking yourself in. The alert also reveals what people who ask favors think, why they behave the way they do to get you to do something for them, and in certain cases, why you react as you do. This knowledge gives you the courage to say no without obsessing over the decision. Some approaches to no may seem hard-edged, but they are realities of life. They are truths about others and ourselves that we don't want to accept, and facts about human nature that are sometimes difficult to acknowledge. An important lesson to learn from the start is, people don't think about you as much as you worry about what they think. As soon as you say no, they move on to find someone to do what they're asking. By saying no, you state your opinion, stand up for yourself, and become sole proprietor of your life. Begin by using a few refusals here and there as a testing ground. The first no to a person makes subsequent refusals easier. A short statement to express your denial is sufficient. Lengthy explanations leave wiggle room for debate or misinterpretation, or can tacitly grant permission to ask again. Chapter 1. Stepping into No. The Basics. Saying no emphatically doesn't mean you're aggressive, obnoxious, selfish, or controlling. It means you know how to protect yourself. The alternative, when you can't help but say yes, often leaves you feeling deceived, frustrated, giving your all and not getting much in return, or being smothered, perpetually overworked, overextended, or tired. Although it's easy to accuse others of asking too much, you could be at fault for expecting too much of yourself. Exercise your option to choose. In the world of no, reducing demands prevents you from choking on self-inflicted overload. Saying no is practicing self-defense, and self-defense is not selfish. You won't be able to say no to everything asked of you, nor will you want to, but you can find a middle ground. You don't have to be an ever-accommodating yes person to be loved, respected, and admired. Saying no is not only liberating, it is your right. These 6 basic steps will hone your ability to turn people down. As soon as you begin to apply them, you will begin to feel justified saying no. 1. Get your priorities straight. Who has first crack at you without your feeling burdened or anxious? A child? A friend? A parent? A partner? A boss? 2. Pay attention to how you parcel out your time. If most of your time is monopolized assisting one friend, for example, when will you see other friends? If family or job demands are high, what's left over for your own enjoyment? When your time is well managed, you keep time in reserve for what's important to you. 3. Recognize when and how often you say yes. Jot down your yeses over the period of a week. If you have yes-person tendencies, the number may shock you. The acceptable number is different for everyone. One request could send you into a tailspin, while it might take 4 or more to unhinge someone else. The real gauge is how pressured, tight for time, or upset you feel. Any negative reaction, why did I agree, what was I thinking, what am I doing, I would rather be elsewhere, is the true measure. 4. Stop trying to do it all. The juggling act of being a loving partner, super parent, or successful business person can be a lot for one person to manage. You may feel guilty when you can't be all things to all people and are compensating by being overly responsible and conscientious. 5. Accept your limits. Everyone has a set amount of physical and emotional energy. How much of other people's problems can you tolerate without feeling drained? How long are you willing to put up with lopsided relationships with you always on the giving end? Decide how close you're willing to be and which kinds of requests make you uncomfortable or nervous. When does your physical stamina give out? What requests are too taxing or beyond your ability altogether? In order to stay healthy, the body and mind require rest to rejuvenate, and if you don't acknowledge your limits, you won't get it. 6. Give control to others to minimize your responsibilities. Discarding your need to run the show, to be sure everything turns out the way you like it, relieves much of the pressure you put on yourself and eliminates unnecessary yeses. If you are a perfectionist, when you don't trust others to be in charge or to get things accomplished, you wind up agreeing to and doing far more than your share. Your go-to no responses. Harnessing the word no empowers you. When dodging requests, do not gild your no with a lie or pad it with lame excuses. Lies and excuses are counterproductive because in all likelihood you will feel guilty about your fabrications, and guilt is precisely what you are trying to avoid. Consider this list your go-to response arsenal.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?